Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible, but when they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied? My name is Chris, and I'm here with my colleague Jack, and we're senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of blinkandyoullmythit, your favorite podcast on this URL. Welcome. I think I said welcome already. Jack, save me. How are you doing? Distract.
I refuse.
Thanks.
Stew in it. Stew.
Screw you too.
No, okay. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you very much. I think that's what you ask, isn't it? I don't know. I don't listen to you half the time.
Yeah,
but no, I'm all good, thank you very much. I'm here. I am ready to learn. I'm ready to listen to you. Sometimes, but I am here. I'm ready for things to occur.
I'll take what I can get.
No. I'm doing good, thanks. But how about you? How are you doing? How's things with you?
Well, I'm having a little bit of a rough summer. I've had things happen which relate to today's episode conveniently, so I can turn my suffering into content. Yeah. So I think that's a good starting point for us, because we are talking about the Rusalka today, which is another suggestion from Mr. Lorekeeper.
That's his name.
And Mr. Keeper, yes, Mr. Keeper wanted us to talk about this, and yeah, I actually had my first encounter with them this year, so it really fits the bill to talk about them today.
Excellent.
So, the Rusalka is a water spirit from Eastern Europe, often found in Poland and the neighboring regions. And from what I could find, the name comes from the Latin Rosalia, which was apparently a name for Pentecost. So again, the Christians are involved in some way or another. And
they find a way in somewhere.
Yeah, they always do.
And it's just like the furries, they find their way in somewhere.
Absolutely, they find their way everywhere.
I am now beginning
every hole.
I'm now beginning to equate Christianity and furries.
I mean, I'm sure there's a significant overlap.
Probably somewhere.
But yeah, it's a bit of a weird roundabout way this time, because apparently it's just that this time of the year was kind of associated with these spirits, so the Rusalki kind of stole that name from the time of the year. It's a bit weird.
Okay, so it's more seasonal thing, is it, or?
Yeah, kind of. There's seasonal moments in the development. So there's the Rusalka week specifically, which we'll get to later, which is, if you've experienced the Shetland Wool Week, it's not anywhere near as cozy or exciting, but, well, it is exciting, I guess, if you're in the wrong place. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Rusalka, for anyone who doesn't know, is a creature that looks mostly human. They look like a woman. They usually have long and loose hair. And apparently that is significant, especially in Slavic tradition, because loose hair kind of signifies an unmarried woman.
Okay,
whereas
yeah.
After marriage, they braid their hair tightly or put it on a headdress. So there's this association with an unmarried woman there.
Someone who is tied down, basically.
And, yeah, the opposite in this case.
That's what I mean, is in someone who's married. Yeah, I'll do that joke again if you'd like. A woman who is tied down is a married person. It's such a bad joke.
Let's move on from that.
I'd almost beg you to pull that one, but
right until this second, I was sure I would cut it out. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. As I said, they look mostly human. The hair color can be a bit odd. Like most of the times, it's somewhere light hair, black hair, but sometimes it ventures into green territory, which is where it's very obvious that you're dealing with something non-human.
Of course, yeah.
As if that wasn't obvious enough from them living in the water.
I mean, nowadays that's just alt culture, but yeah, back then.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. And yeah, they are associated with waters and rivers and lakes, every kind of body of water, like a lot of mythical creatures are.
Yeah.
And
I always wonder why that is.
well, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of water on planet Earth, so I guess just purely statistically, there's bound to be a bunch of creatures that evolve to inhabit that.
True.
So,
I mean, when we talk about UFOs and things like that, people are always talking about them potentially coming from the deep sea. So yeah, that makes sense. I always wondered if it was a kind of it's a constant
I've played
flow.
that XCOM game.
I always wondered if it was something coming from like the flow of the water, the fact that it's always moving, always changing. And obviously, when we're talking like in the past, it used to be it was a dangerous thing being near bodies of water. It was people didn't know to swim. People did, just that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also the fact that the deeper a body of water is, the less you know what is going on further down, because you can only see so far, and there's whole phobias based around that fact. And
of course, yeah.
Water can be very creepy.
So mythical creatures hiding in there, it pretty much just like writes itself, doesn't it? So
absolutely, yeah. And yeah, the Rusalki also related to a bunch of other similar creatures in the Western to Middle European area, like the Melusine in France, or the Germanic Nixies, or there's also the Russian Vodyanitsa, who are all they are not the same thing, but they are similar enough that they are considered to be kind of related in a biological sense.
Would you say it's a little bit like different breeds of dog, or would you say it's more like technically cats and lions and tigers are all a similar feline family, just of very different creatures themselves?
I would probably put it somewhere like, probably the latter part. So they are kind of part of the same family, like a house cat and a lion, but there can be significant differences, but they are all kind of under the same umbrella, so to say.
That makes sense. Same kind of family, but different species complete.
Exactly.
See, people, we do know science and taxonomy.
Yes, we absolutely do. Sweating. Yeah, but
it's a lot of setup for that joke.
They are. It was definitely worth it, I guess. Probably, maybe. But the Rusalka is a member of that group of species that is kind of similar in like behavior and abilities that you typically attribute to sirens in a way.
Ooh.
We'll get to that in a minute, but it's not always, but there can be singing involved. And also in the same vein, they are, or if you don't want to generalize completely, they tend to be malicious towards humans. And
okay, so when you say malicious, are we talking mischievous kind of malicious, or are we talking deadly malicious?
Well, do you consider drowning someone mischievous?
I mean,
it's all a matter of definition.
I mean, I guess I go towards like arguments of intent at that point, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, also they have been said to tickle people to death, which, lands somewhere right in between.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Drowning, tickling.
Yeah, me neither.
There's certain differences there.
I mean, I'm not personally aware of any like verified instances of that happening, but they can be rather sadistic, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, if you go back far enough in like Slavic paganism, you find that back then they were seen as like more benevolent, and they kind of were seen as this helpful summer spirit where they come out of the water and give moisture to the fields and stuff like that. So we're not quite sure why that is. Maybe they were replaced by a kind of invasive species, so to say, that is similar enough, but, wasn't as well behaved. Maybe it just took a while for them to realize that humans were good prey. Who knows?
Okay.
But there's definitely been a shift, at least in perception, as to their intentions over the centuries.
That's an interesting one. Like the idea that they've changed their habits because of something.
Yeah.
And they've kind of gone from being benevolent and helpful, or at least indifferent towards people, to preying on us.
Exactly. That's very interesting, and the frustrating thing is that we can't really nail down why. It's difficult for us because we have to, like, as a first step, kind of separate the folk tales from what has actually happened, and both are kind of not in vast supply as to that specific kind of change. So
Fair.
we're not really getting anywhere close to a real answer, I'm afraid, until we invent a time machine. I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, the science department are working very hard on something. Who knows, maybe?
They were working on having invented one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the problem always comes that if you've invented one, then surely just to save time, you would go back in time and just hand yourself the blueprint and the end result. But then surely that would cause a paradox of time travel, because then if you've already invented it, then you don't need to invent it, which means it isn't invented. So you then have to invent it. Which
that's
means...
how most universes die.
Oh no! I mean, there is that theory that that as a universe we've already died. Oh God, no! We were successful.
I mean, it would explain a lot of things if the universe is just slowly falling apart. But anyway, let's escape this existential dread for now and go back to fun murderous creatures in the water.
What a life we lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So in media, they are often kind of conflated with mermaids, or at least with similar traits. The Rusalki do not actually have like fish tails and stuff like that, but they are also like related creatures where some of them have that. So there's kind of that's kind of where the confusion comes from. And according to the mythology behind it, where a Rusalka comes from is usually a woman who died often by drowning, either by suicide by drowning or being drowned by someone else.
Is it kind of like that fits of passion kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. It's a lot of the stories around it tell of unwanted pregnancies and the man like drowning her, that kind of stuff, and then the woman is supposed to basically come back as a Rusalka with a lust for vengeance.
Yeah.
And that vengeance usually doesn't just focus on that single person. It's more that they kill any humans they come across often enough. So they're not picky when it comes to targets.
But this is the myth.
That is the myth, yeah. Okay. The reality is a lot more drowning. There's just people living in the water. So it's not that exciting of a story. But
no, it's an incredibly exciting story, Chris. That's what we're here for. Make things up, man.
It's not an exciting part of the story. The rest of it is pretty good, though. Sometimes things are just banal. That's how it is.
Fair enough. I mean, that is the German way, isn't it? Sometimes things are just banal, and that is the amusing part.
Exactly. Most of my life, I have been banal.
Oh, Chris.
But what I was trying to say is that what they do is they lure mostly men or young men often, which probably ties into them being more interested in, pretty water ladies. But there's also some amount of mind control involved. So once they kind of start singing and kind of lulling your mind a little bit with their sing-song, there is the Siren connection that you kind of lose yourself in that a little bit. You lose your
Quick note, one day we'll do an episode on sirens.
We probably will, but then again, after this episode, maybe there's not enough there to distinguish it, and we never will. Or will we? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, victims are lured into the water, and once you get into the water, it's usually too late. And you can kind of combat that with iron, as is the case in a lot of these kinds of stories.
Well, I mean, as you've pointed out a few times, yes, but you know, iron spikes, iron swords, iron sticking out of a person
I mean,
would
these
probably stop.
also work, yes.
Would probably stop most people.
that is true. But in this case, there's actually something to it. You can like wear iron now around your neck. The problem is to have any kind of effect. It needs to be rather chunky, so like a tiny necklace is not gonna do it. It's more like a Mr. T situation, just with less bling.
I'm assuming it's a case of by the time you've also got into the water with heavy iron all over you,
it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help
in and of itself.
yes. I mean, in the ideal situation, it prevents you from even going into the water. But yeah, if you end up underwater with a fat iron thing around your neck, yeah, that's you're in a whole another world of problems. But yeah, what happens when you get into the water is that they go all bayonetta basically, and they use their long hair to grab you by the feet and pull you under.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. I think everyone knows from personal experience how evil wet hair is, and if that hair also has the intention of murdering you,
well, not just that.
That's not gonna help.
Not just that, but it's like everyone has had that kind of thing if they've ever gone into the sea where it feels like something touches your leg or something, and you get that weird feeling. But imagining something just like touching your leg and then wrapping around and then pulling.
Oh yeah.
No.
And then you might think like, oh, it's just a dainty little water lady. I'm just gonna like climb over her to get out of the water. But the problem is that they actively like they become really slippery. Like when they start drowning you, they kind of secrete this slimy like stuff on their skin, so you can't even grab them or anything really. It's like
excellent. I hate it.
It's like they are yeah.
Although I am at this point just going to say, what would stop me from basically I feel the hair wrapping around my leg. I feel it starting to pull down. What stops me from leaning down in the water, taking a pair of scissors and just giving a haircut?
I don't know about you, but I am not always running around with scissors in my pockets. So,
you're not wrong there, but again, what stops me from cutting the hair, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Is there anything, or is it just they rely on the panic of suddenly drowning?
I guess it's partly panic, it's partly because the only reason you end up in this situation is because your brain is already not braining as it should, so...
Of course. It's already taken control of you mentally.
We haven't got many chances to interview people who have been drowned this way, so I can only assume things here.
Yeah, I hear they're not very communicative, but yeah, you know, we keep trying.
No, not really. Yeah, someday we will succeed. But yeah, that is not a nice way to go, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are quite ruthless in this way. And I think a bit that I kind of skipped over is Rusalka week, which which I mentioned at the beginning, saying I would come to that later, but now there is later and I forgot it. But it's actually kind of important because that is the week where they traditionally are said to come out of the water, and there's also where they're saying about them like moisturizing the fields comes from and everything. And for the longest time, people thought it was just them, you know, coming out of the water and then going back. But what we have actually found because there are some variations of them that do not live in the water, but instead live in the forest, where they are not any less dangerous, but at least they can't drown you. It's more like, as I've mentioned, tickling you to death or other weird things, or clobbering you over the head with a big branch. And they're not picky. But what I was trying to get at is that these are different life phases, basically. So what we have found is that the Rusalka week is kind of the point in a Rusalka's development where they are able to leave the water for the first time and are kind of starting that transition of living on land and living in the forest. And it's kind of this a sign of entering adulthood, I guess.
Oh,
so
that's an interesting concept.
If you really want to push it, a Rusalka in the water is basically a tadpole.
Okay, but we're still dying to the tadpole.
Yes.
Well, what do they do on land? What do they do on land again?
They hang around in the forest and they catch unsuspecting victims. They still have their kind of like seducing, mind control-ish powers to get the better on you. And then they are very fond of actually like torturing people in some ways. There's the tickling, we've heard of forcing people to basically dance until they die. There's all kinds of things going on in the forest.
Angry lady.
You'd probably do well to stay away from them in either stage of their life.
Yeah, sounds it. I'm going to say sounds like quite an angry person, basically.
Yes.
Angry creature that is rather vengefully mean to people, for certain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And you might be wondering how I engage with them. And I promise it's not that I try to date any of them this time.
That makes a change.
Yeah, that makes a change. But that's also why I was so eager to drop that Rusalka week back in there, because that's actually when I met that. Rusalka week is, as I said, I think I said earlier, it's around Pentecost. It's
I think that's when you said.
June. It's in June, and it's kind of a time of the year with a lot of Rusalka activity, because, they leave the water, and even those that cannot leave the water yet, they are kind of like, they want to, and they are anxious and agitated, so it's kind of a bad week to encounter them, I suppose. And usually not a lot happens, because local people, they know to keep away from rivers, especially at that time of year. Despite all our efforts in the past to like keep things under wrap, people that kind of live in these areas, of course, they know the dangers that lurk in the waters there, and it's not exactly a secret. But still, we tend to send out a few wardens at this time of year to kind of like basically the area. Most of the time you're just on standby in case that something happens, and if we're honest, most of the time it's just a nice Poland vacation, which is usually quite relaxing.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's if you're not going to get that much kind of activity, sometimes it is nice. Like we in the CCI do have these kind of annual jobs. Like I've spoken about it, like with the Shore Laddies, we have an annual job where we go and we do checks, or we do protection work, or just various things. And sometimes it is a case of it's just a nice holiday. There's not much else to go around.
Exactly. Yes, and definitely nothing goes wrong on those kinds of holidays.
Of course.
And so throughout the year we kind of monitor the populations, and that way we can like identify hotspots where there are especially many this year, and where we might need to kind of keep a closer eye on the area.
Yeah.
And
intelligence work.
Yes.
For intelligence work.
There are intelligent people in the CTI, believe it or not.
Not met them yet. But...
Not us, but they are there. So what we tend to do is like we block paths or hiking trails and that kind of thing, just to keep people away from the water where we can, just to avoid any accidents. We have like drones, and depending on what is currently up there, we have some satellite imagery to kind of observe the area, to kind of see where things are happening or if anything is happening.
Yeah.
And it was using this kind of imagery that we have found that in the area I was stationed in with a partner of mine, that as it always happens, and we have often had that kind of scenario here on the podcast already, there's always some idiot who circumvents our blocked paths and kind of enters an area, because we try to close off the area as best we can, but there's limits to practicality. We can't like make a physically impenetrable barrier along an entire river, so
there's always an idiot who ignores a sign.
Yes, and idiots can be extremely determined, and
the most determined.
As such, there was and this was even worse than that, because this was an idiot with a motivation. Because as I later found out, he was convinced that his late mother had come back as Rusalka, and he was determined to lift the curse so she can move on. And
excellent.
Yeah,
someone's been watching too many monster shows.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not even sure what he was planning. He had a Bible on him and some some salt in a bucket, and I'm not sure what the plan was. Anyway,
seasoning by the sounds of it for the Rusalka.
Yeah, probably. It's very, very considerate. But yeah, as we see this guy approaching the river, and yeah, that's where I grab my emergency equipment to just run over there and try to keep him out of the water, basically.
Yeah.
That includes the said stupid heavy iron chains, but it's not comfortable, but it's better than not having them when you encounter Rusalka, so I put up with it. And I catch up to him as he's already quite close to the water, and as I get closer to him and the water, I notice that I'm starting to have this urge to just keep walk into the water, and I realize that quite unusually, because normally they are alone, but there were like 3 Rusalki working together for whatever reason, and I realized that the iron I have on me is not going to cut it, because there's a bunch of weird stuff going on, basically tripled, and I'm noticing that I'm kind of losing control of myself. Like, the iron is helping a little bit to keep my thoughts kind of clear, but I'm realizing that I'm taking steps without actually like consciously choosing it, and I realize that I'm in trouble here, and the guy in front of me is not doing any better. And this is the point where another piece of equipment comes in, so to say, because we have been piloting a kind of experimental last resort kind of thing against any mind control, and it's now in the field testing phase. So I had the dubious honor of actually being one of the first to use it in the field.
Ooh, fun!
And I couldn't do much myself, but I could still message my partner, and I was just grabbing my radio and said "Code S now," and I was holding on to the other guy in front of me and trying to like slow us both down as much as I can.
Yeah.
And just a little bit later, a large drone appears over us carrying a crate.
Okay.
And the crate opens and releases the emergency parachute squonk. It gets airdropped onto our position. And I can tell you, the only thing worse than seeing a squonk is seeing a squonk from below. But
no wonder you seem so sad recently. You've had psychic trauma.
Yeah, it's I've dealt with it before, so that lessens the impact a bit, but it was still rough. I was going through a phase there these last few weeks. But yeah, anyway, it comes into view, and the effect of the mind control almost immediately like vanishes as it is replaced by this like just straight up repulsion, and both me and the guy begin to vomit from just like the sight of this. I also hear the Rusalki howl in despair and immediately disappear into the water and flee the scene. And at that point, the squonk finally touches ground, runs away from us, but then sees its reflection in the water and immediately begins crying and dissolves.
Oh no.
And it was a whole thing. So we basically sacrificed the squonk to save us.
Oh god.
But yeah,
This is
and
this is a cluster.
It was a cluster, but yeah, after that I escorted the idiot away and we talked to him about his mother and everything, and we tried to get through to him that his mother is not a spirit in the river and that he should keep his distance. And
Yeah, of course.
I can only hope that he listens to this advice. But yeah, that is my encounter with the Rusalka.
Fair enough. I mean, there are some creatures out there, a little bit like what was it? The basilisk, was it, in the past, where we had to deploy the emergency weasel?
Yeah, the emergency weasel.
Excellent. Yeah, so there are some creatures out there that where we do use other creatures or other animals, mundane and other things. But I honestly was not expecting the squonk to make a appearance in this in this situation. But I guess you know, sometimes the best way to defeat mental trauma is more mental trauma.
Exactly, like fighting fire with fire.
I mean, sending a squonk is like burning down.
Not good
village.
if you're burning, but yeah. But speaking of being lured to your doom, where do you think we could lure our listeners after being done with this episode?
Well, if you would like to be lured anywhere, listeners, you should be lured towards the Blink and You'll Mythit Discord, where you can speak to like-minded individuals. We've started gaining a few more people recently, so it would be lovely if they had people to talk to rather than just me and Chris. You know, interesting people. And you can find the link to that to the Discord in the show notes, in the details, you know, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. And you can go there.
You wouldn't want them to be lonely.
Exactly. You wouldn't want them to be lonely. And you can go there and you can talk to them generally. You can give us feedback on our episodes. You can suggest creatures that you would like to learn about, because between Chris and I, we have basically spent our entire career meeting everything that's out there, and if there's anything new, we usually get sent there between the two of us.
Yeah.
Or on occasion, we end up doing some creatures as a pair. We go and see various creatures together because they decide that they need to get rid of both of us at the same time. Who knows? They haven't succeeded so far.
Not yet.
But
they're certainly trying.
But in there, that is where you'll find all of this stuff, in the Blink and You'll Mythit Discord, when you can interact with us and ask questions and do it all in the safety of a invite-only Discord. Except the invite is open to everyone. But while they're in the Discord, Chris, what else should they be doing?
Well, you should absolutely be giving this podcast your thumbs up, your 5 stars, or whatever form of rating your platform offers to you. Give us the cucumber, whatever is the case. We need the engagement. We need you to comment the living bejesus out of the episodes. We need you to subscribe, because you wouldn't want to miss out on future episodes. And also, subscribe account looks very good to us, and we'd be happy. And I know you don't care about us being happy, but we do. So
we care about being happy.
It'd just be nice. Yeah.
And we care about your happiness.
We aren't, but we would like to be. Yeah.
We also care about your happiness, and you know what? Blinking You'll Mythit will always make you happy.
Always.
Either you'll enjoy the episode, or you'll be glad you're not us. Either way, you'll be happy.
Yeah, and the happier we are, the more we can bombard you with fresh content, fresh episodes, And if there's not enough new stuff coming out for you, you can always go back and listen to older episodes.
Lots of them.
We have been doing this for a while. We have like 70 something episodes now, I think.
And a few more specials.
Yeah, and there is no continuity. You can listen to them in any order that you like. Just find something that sounds interesting and click play, as long as you keep listening to the others you don't care about as well, because we need the consumption hours in our statistics. But most importantly in life, in adulthood, in childhood, in anything that you do, is the concept of sharing.
Always.
You need to share this podcast with everyone you come across. You need to
share your food.
Tattoo the QR code onto your forehead
Share
so
your
people
happiness.
can just scan you with their
Share your
smart
news.
glasses like the assholes they are,
Share
and
your
open
illnesses.
our podcast and be converted
Share
into
pandemics.
less horrible people, maybe.
Sharing
Yes,
everything.
be the super spreader you want to see in the world, so we can infect the world with our wisdom and our antics, and yeah, that is the most important thing you can do.
And
But
our
if
rubbish.
there is nothing else to be said, and I believe there was nothing to say 3 minutes ago, I think this is a good place to say thank you very much for listening. We'll be back here in another 2 weeks' time with a fresh creature, so be certain to join us back again at this point, and thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. How about if I eat the mic? Like this. How about if I eat the mic? Just chewing on the mic like this. Is that really useful? Will that be helpful in the edit if I'm just eating the mic and chewing the mic like this?